formally or informally. I'm on my website right now, and I am perusing the drop-down menu for the Mingle Project. And what I think is really neat and totally listener-generated, organic, I've had nothing to do with this other than encouragement. Bonnie Glushin in California really is the catalyst. But if you go on my website, you will see that there are listener-inspired events, informal, that are coming together all over the country. Atlanta, Chicago, Columbia, Maryland, Lakeland, Florida, LA, Houston, Minneapolis, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, Providence, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, and Springfield, Missouri. These are informal gatherings where people have one connection, my program. And they're getting together in social settings, and what are they doing? They are mingling. And I think that is really neat. And by the way, if you want to start your own, you can. They're small, as far as I know from the photographs, that it's just a handful of people in each of them to start. That's okay. But I think it's really neat. So if you want to get out, meet some folks, you already have the icebreaker. Oh, you listen to Michael's program. What do you think of TC? Isn't Dan a wonderful guy? He's a volunteer firefighter. And you're off to the races. I'm just saying. So it's on my, let me just show you what it looks like, okay? It looks like this on the website, under the Mingle Project. And then there are all the towns, and then you click on them, and they tell you where there's an event upcoming. So, I see that LA, Los Angeles, tomorrow at 5 is having a Mingle gathering, which seems pretty cool. Okay, you Michiganders. It doesn't matter if your team doesn't score, there's always another way to win on the Play Gun Lake online casino and sportsbook app. Michiganders celebrating a great sports year with Detroit Pro Football rolling along, and now Detroit Baseball playing this afternoon, 1 p.m., Game 5, divisional playoffs in Cleveland. The loser goes home. And then Pro Football tomorrow, Detroit, a 3-point fave at Dallas. Bet more than just the score. Bet player performances, the one and only sportsbook app that I ever recommend in Michigan. Play Gun Lake. I played it when I was in Grand Rapids a month ago. Live dealer right on your phone. Enjoy your favorite sports wherever you are. You're waiting for a plane or a bus or the dentist. Sit there and play some blackjack. New users, there's a special deal for you. $1,000 casino bonus back. It's got to be wagered. It's for new users only. PlayGunLake.com for details. Got to be 21 and in Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You want to see the front page of today's Philadelphia Inquirer? Actually, I'll set it up better. Let me set it up this way. So here is, you know me, I'm old school. I like to touch newspapers. Here is the Thursday New York Times, page 1 above the fold. Thursday, New York Times, page 1 above the fold. Battling for Pennsylvania, which could tip the election. Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. Now, at Wawa this morning, I bought the Philadelphia Inquirer. I had already read the story, but I wanted to hold it up on television and hold it up for all of you. Brand new poll. Brand new Pennsylvania poll from the Inquirer, New York Times, and Siena College. What does it say? Harris by 4. That's margin of error stuff, but that's good news for Harris. Kamala Harris, a 4-point advantage over Trump in Pennsylvania. Now, what's interesting is that the economy remains the number one issue, and on the economy, Trump has the edge, 54%, which has grown. Because last month, 51% said they preferred Trump on the economy. So even though Trump's margin on the economy is growing, Harris's overall margin in the most important state in the election 3 weeks from now, her lead has grown. Kind of an oddity there, right? I have today on CNN with me. We planned this in advance, and I'm so excited about it because I think so much of both of these individuals. Former Republican member of Congress from the eastern part of the state, Charlie Dent, and former member of Congress, Democrat, from the western part of the state, Connor Lamb. two decent, smart, willing to compromise, more centrist than their parties type thinkers. And I guess probably telling that neither of them is in Congress right now. Connor, of course, lost the Senate primary against John Fetterman, and I thought was just I think is such a quality individual. So I'll be Pennsylvania focused, but if you were listening to the radio program yesterday, and you know that this is often the case, where things happen on radio, I'm interacting with callers, I have thoughts, I have notes, I deliver commentaries, and then I go home and I think about things and I say to myself, I need to polish that and make it a CNN commentary. And today is one of those days. Today is one of those days. The poll question today at Smerconish.com asks, which is a more potent political emotion, hope or fear? Hope or fear? And what is so clear to me now is the approach that Donald Trump is taking, relying on fear. It is not Trump going rogue. It is not Trump deviating from the teleprompter. It is not Trump causing his strategists to pull their hair out. I think it's totally deliberate what he's doing, narrowcasting for a very small slice of the electorate. And who are they? People who are for him, but not inclined to vote. And so the short version is he is seeking to scare the crap out of them, not about the economy, not talking about prices at the grocery, not talking about the day-to-day aspects of our existence, but rather by painting this perilous, apocalyptic picture. Really, Michael? We'll back up that statement. Okay, so how about the fact that last night he was in Aurora, Colorado. Aurora, Colorado, a Denver suburb. Colorado is not in play. He went there because there are controversies due to the migrant population in Aurora. And Trump in Aurora said a lot of things. He said that a Venezuelan gang has invaded and conquered this community, and other communities are similarly being conquered. In other words, he painted a very, again, dark picture of what's going on out there as a result of the lack of border security. By the way, so that there's no mistake, I think that our borders are porous and that we have an immigration problem. But what I'm interested in is Trump's approach and the way that he's doing this. So my opening commentary before I talk about Pennsylvania today is to talk about Trump's approach and to try and point out that it is very methodical, very planned, and might be successful. I'll quote USA Today. While Trump has engaged in rough rhetoric since entering politics in 2015, particularly against migrants, he appears to be ratcheting it up in the final weeks of his third general election campaign. In Trump's comments, political opponents have gone from incompetent to mentally impaired. Migrants are murderers with bad genes, and World War III is right around the corner. Now, why is he doing that? Because when I hear him speak in those terms, I say that's not working with my neighbors in the Philly burbs, which is, we are continually told, the most important battleground in the entire country. So what's he up to? Great analysis from Jonah Goldberg in the LA Times that I will quote, where Goldberg talks about how 80 million people who are eligible 80 million people who were eligible sat out the 2020 election. And Trump is trying to reach a very narrow swath of them. Lowry says that Trump's apocalyptic rhetoric might turn off my neighbors, in the burbs of Philly, but could move these, he calls them irregular voters, to go to the polls. Differences on issues like the border, abortion, even the economy might not motivate them, but the survival of the country just might. Viewed in this light, his outlandish statement about eating cats and dogs in Ohio, or Elon Musk saying that this will be the last election unless Trump wins, it all begins to make sense. Every time Trump says something that causes you to say he just lost votes, remember, the polls that show the race to be neck and neck, in spite of all that, he has already said. Isn't that true? Like every time he says an outlandish thing, you're like, well, that's the end of him. But nothing's been the end of him. The race is neck and neck. She has not closed the deal. And Trump is narrowcasting. That's the state of the race with 3 weeks to go. Now, will it be successful? I mean, look at the dichotomy. You think about all of the talk of joy. Oprah in her Democratic National Convention speak talking about joy. You think historically about Barack Obama, where it was that sort of caricature of Obama, hope. You know, the man from hope, Bill Clinton, came out at the Democratic National Convention and said that Harris will be the president of joy. Does joy work? Feeling good, the vibes, is that a motivator? We're all feeling good. We're all feeling happy about Kamala Harris. Let's go out and vote. Or is it the darkness, the doom and gloom, the scaring the crap out of people, which will drive them to the polls? Because that's the election in its 11th hour. Ta-da! I'm so thrilled that I will also have my buddy Admiral Stavridis. It really is a great book. It's a novel by Admiral Stav. TC says that there is both profanity and sex in it. It's a great read, and he's a good guy. And it's one of these books where he's got something to say, and he wants to say it in a fictitious context. And then I have a guy who has earned a PhD by studying demography, and his area of expertise is to look at how we are reacting to climate change. I thought this was a really great way to follow up on the two big storms in Florida. The political ramifications of people moving out of the path of extreme weather has yet to be focused on and talked about, and I want to be one of the first to do that. In other words, if you're deciding, hey, I'm not going to live in Florida the way that I had expected, where are you going to live? And what will be the population in different communities as a result when we draw the census, determine congressional boundary lines, and how many electoral college votes your state gets as a result. So those are my big three. A Pennsylvania focus. Let's talk about extreme weather, the political aspect, and Admiral James Stavridis. And by the way, I'm not just going to talk to the Admiral about his book. I'm going to talk about the fact that we are still on this Yom Kippur. We are still awaiting Israel's response to Iran's most recent missile strike. And the real question is whether Israel is going to go after oil and nuclear capabilities, which is something the Biden administration doesn't want to happen. Question, what if Israel, in contravention of what Biden has said, does attack Iran's nuclear capability or oil fields? What's the obligation of the United States then? If we tell them, please don't do this because it might start World War III, and they do it, are we any less supportive of Israel going forward? That's what I got. That is what I got. Okay, go vote, please, on today's poll question. Check out the Mingle Project drop-down. I love this because I didn't do it. I love this that listeners are saying, hey, why don't we mingle based on the sole fact that we listened to Michael's program? Atlanta, Chicago, Columbia, Lakeland, LA, Houston, Minneapolis, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, Providence, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, Springfield, Missouri. And you could found your own chapter. You know, you decide, hey, for happy hour, we're going to go to the local cantina. You put it on my website, and anybody who wants to show up in that area shows up. It's like, hey, how are you? What's going on? Oh, you listen to the program too? That's cool. See everybody. I really appreciate you. Have a great day.